Well, hello, Green Spring. Today is Tuesday, April 18th, 2017. I'm Fran Duvall, your host for today, and I'm pleased to have in the studio today one of the assisted living managers from Garden Ridge, Emily Apin.
Yes.
Oh, that was close, wasn't it?
Emily Apin, perfect. Thank you.
And Peggy Trotter. Peggy,
Yes.
And you're a resident
Yes,
in
I
the
am.
assisted living
Yes.
section? Oh, okay. They're here today. I'm so glad that I don't think we've ever had a resident, or when I've hosted. So I'm happy that we have a resident.
Thank you.
Garden Ridge over here. So Emily.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on Channel 6. I appreciate that on Village in Motion this morning. I'm here to talk a little bit about Garden Ridge, specifically about assisted living, and sort of what the transition's like, what the experience of a resident who has actually transitioned from independent living to assisted living is like. So I want to talk to Ms. Trotter a little bit. I am one of the managers in assisted living, myself and Charlotte Wally. We both manage the assisted living neighborhoods, and we have wellness nurse managers as well. There are two. So here to talk a little bit about that today.
And in that section of Garden Ridge, how many people are in the assisted living? What's the census in that?
What's the census?
Yeah.
So our maximum capacity, we have 3 different neighborhoods.
All right.
Okay, we have Evergreen Terrace, the first floor. We have Rose Court, the first floor, and Rose Court 2,
Okay.
the second floor. And there are 34 residents on each neighborhood.
Okay.
So in total, 102
Around 100.
potentially.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't realize that statistic.
Yes.
All right. And so, shall we discuss Peggy's transition? Is that what we want to do today?
Yeah, I have a few questions for her. Wanted to talk, I think sometimes people don't know what to expect. When you're talking about Garden Ridge or assisted living in general, what is it like to really transition there? And sort of talk to Peggy about her experience, because she lived in independent living for a long time.
Where did you live when you lived here?
I was in Parkview.
In Parkview, the very first building.
Oh, really?
Parkview was the very first
I loved
resident building. Yeah.
I loved the patio.
Yeah.
So what really led you to wanting to consider moving to assisted living?
I didn't consider it. It wasn't my choice, but it was good that I did. I had
That is
fallen.
Peggy.
Pardon?
That's Emily.
Shh, we can hear. The gentlemen are talking on the camera, folks, and we were getting interrupted. So you were living there and you had fallen,
Yes.
and that told you shouldn't be by yourself.
Well, they told me that.
Oh.
I didn't tell myself that.
You were denying it.
Right, absolutely. But it's been a good experience.
How long has this been?
I think 2 years.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure.
I think it's right, because I actually was a social worker when you were in short-term rehab before you transitioned to assisted living. So I think it's almost 2 years since
Okay.
you've moved into assisted
Sounds
living.
reasonable.
Sounds about right. And then I guess, I think sometimes when people move to assisted living, they think that they're somewhere else on the other side of the road. But talk to us a little bit about, are you able to still interact with your friends from independent living, come over to this side of the pond, if you will?
Yes. I've even had meals with them, and they have been good about coming to visit me.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, it's wonderful. They're marvelous people, great friends.
And you come over here for events at all? Do you come over to the theater for anything?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
you do.
I go anywhere on the campus.
Of course you can. I mean,
And I walk everywhere.
Okay.
I love to walk.
and you have an assisted device,
I have, yes, I do.
So that helps you and you won't do any more falling.
Right. Hopefully.
Yes. And to get over to Garden Ridge is really easy. There's a bridge, so you don't have
Sure.
to walk outside.
Sure.
You can use your rollator, or if you have an EMV, to come over to independent living.
Right.
So you have access to everything you had access to in independent living. It's just that you're living in a more supportive environment. And in talking about the more supportive environment, that has a lot to do with the staff. So the interactions that the assisted living residents have is a little bit different. So maybe you could talk to us about the staff and how you interact with them differently than interacting with the staff in independent living.
I don't remember what it was like in independent living, but in the assisted living, they are wonderful helpers and very respectful. I like
Now,
them.
a typical day, like do you go to the dining room for breakfast?
Yes.
Over there?
Yeah.
Or any of your meals, if you
All
wish?
of my meals.
All of them. Or you can come over here and have a meal, is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
In any of the dining rooms over here, yeah. And so your typical day, now, do people come in and help you dress? And
No,
that you
I
can
don't.
do
I
that.
don't.
You can do
the
all
one
that
thing
yourself.
they help me with is getting my stockings on and off.
Okay.
And that's based on resident need.
Okay.
So we have the help available to you if you need it. But if you don't need it, you don't have to have it, right? It's sort of,
Yeah.
and over time you may need it for different reasons. You may be ill for some reason or may need it temporarily.
Okay. And so what are the activities you're involved in over there? Do you have any group activities?
Yes, they have.
Do jigsaw puzzles, for instance, like
And bingo,
the different
and
names?
just they have all kinds
Yeah.
of things going on.
Yeah.
If you're bored, it's your own fault.
That's what I say about people who live in independent. I mean, yeah, in independent living as well.
And my neighbors are wonderful people. Just so, Doris Bates was so welcoming when I moved in.
Oh, how nice!
Oh, it was wonderful. My nephew was with me, and he was very impressed with her.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Did your nephew live nearby?
He lives in Burke, he and his
that's
family.
Good. Yeah, that's excellent.
He has a son that makes me laugh all the time.
Well, good. That's excellent. All right, so I know I interrupted your questions that you were going to pose that would highlight what Peggy's activities are.
Right. So I think activities are a wonderful thing. You know, we have different activities. So if you're interested in doing bingo, or you had said jigsaw puzzles, we also do outings for residents. They can go off campus. The activities coordinator organizes, they go to restaurants, they go to performances at the Kennedy Center, those types of things. But also daily there's a calendar of activities for
Right.
people to do. So they're welcome to do the activities in Garden Ridge or the activities in independent living to their preference.
Yeah.
We really want it to be a resident-centered environment.
Yeah. I would think the only really big difference, I mean, if one is up and about like you are, I would think the biggest difference you'd ever experience would be the size of where you're living or not having a kitchen. I mean, those are like the only
Right.
two things I could think of that might be quite a change, you know, but
And I miss the kitchen.
you do.
It was fun being able to stick some cookies in the oven.
Sure.
But I get
Well, they're going to
everything
have to have an activity over there where they just let the residents come in and cook the dessert for the day.
They do. They bake cookies. That's one of the best activities because it makes the whole neighborhood smell fantastic, right? So they bake cookies and brownies and things at different times. So that is something that is scheduled
Okay.
for residents because a lot of residents, like Ms. Trotter, do miss having a kitchen. They miss doing those types of things
Sure,
they did in the past.
Are you a hobby person? Do you have any like sewing or anything?
I do a little bit of crocheting.
Okay.
But I haven't done much of that lately.
Okay, you're probably too busy.
Right.
And gardening.
Oh, I love to garden.
Oh,
I had a garden plot that I gave up, but
You had a garden plot here.
Yes, and I'm
Uh-huh.
about to ask for another one.
Oh, are you? Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Now, what would you have to say as a summation to people in independent living who have a need to go over to assisted living?
Well, if you have to go, it's great.
Okay.
It isn't your choice, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
once you're there, everyone is very helpful, and I think very, very respectful.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It is.
That's important.
It is
Very
important.
Yes. And if you need a doctor's appointment or whatever, do you come over to the medical center or do they come over to you? How is that working?
So it depends.
Like an independent living, you know, you have your regular checkups and things.
Right, so it depends. The physicians do see you in independent living. So if you were seeing one of our Green Spring physicians, they will see you in assisted living.
Okay.
If it's a specialist, for example, Dr. Martinelli, the orthopedist who sees patients on Wednesdays, then you would go over to the medical center.
Okay.
But all other appointments, including the podiatrist, also comes over to Garden Ridge.
Oh, okay.
All of that is taken care of.
Okay. All right.
There's a nurse on the neighborhood full-time. If there are any questions or concerns, they can always call the doctor on call if something were to arise. So there is that sort of overarching support that is there. And in addition to the medical part, something important to note about assisted living is we also can manage your medications. So that's something that you don't have to worry about, you know, when to take what pills and to reorder this and that.
That's good for me.
Yeah.
So that's all managed.
Yeah. Well, just thank you for coming today and sharing that with us, Ms. Trotter, and makes us a little more comfortable about the idea if we have to go. And let me ask you a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
About how is the construction stuff going on over there?
So we are very excited. We broke ground not too long ago. Dogwood Commons is the new part of Garden Ridge, which they're starting the construction.
Commons.
Dogwood
Okay.
Commons. Correct. So dogwood is the tree for the state of Virginia.
That's exactly
So very
right.
fitting, right? So that project is underway. You'll see increased construction. There's a road that was built sort of in front before you come through the gates.
Right.
And then you'll see the garden and Garden Ridge is temporarily closed because they're working behind there. But it's going to be a great new project. Everyone's very excited in anticipation of an expanding community.
Now, do the residents over there, especially in assisted living, get to be sidewalk superintendents and go look through a fence and see how the construction is going?
Well, they get a front row seat for sure.
Okay.
We do.
Well, we're glad to hear that. And listen, thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Oh, we have a picture of the construction there. Okay, stay tuned.